Hello guys, welcome back to Tactical Trafford, and today we want to talk about what we actually learned from the last game we played in the preseason against Leeds United. What are the possible solutions and what we can be able to expect from the next game against Everton on Sunday morning. So guys, let's dive into this video together. So guys, one of my first observation from that game was that, definitely in the preseason game, managers try a lot of formations, a lot of tactical flexibility. They try players in various positions, and it was evident in that game that Toby Coyla actually started as a right 10. At some point he played as one of the right wing backs, and actually it didn't work in the game as it was changed in the second half. So that's something that definitely Amorim will not be looking to try next season, as Toby Coyla might also be loaned next season because of playing time. So that's one of the observations we had. We also have several observations. Ahmad played in different positions, in the right end, the right wing back, obviously, and it was actually the positions that we are used to Ahmad Diallo actually playing. But I could see that Ruben Amorim is trying to bring a lot of flexibility. He doesn't want players to be used to playing one position. He wants situations whereby players can be able to play in several positions. And also, just like the most evident observation was that Kobe Mino actually played as the deep line midfielder that we all know Kobe Mino to be playing. Last season Kobe Mino was playing more like one of the right tens or the left end. There are occasions where he played as a striker, but actually it didn't work because that is not his position. So he actually played in the left central midfield in the Leeds game, and he was very effective. He had a very wonderful performance. He was able to bring a lot of control in the second half after we had actually a very poor half from the midfield pivot of Bruno and Casemiro. Actually, Kobe Mino brought a lot of control. There were times whereby he dropped deep to take the ball, try to play like a lone pivot to control the tempo of the game. So that's actually one of the observations. So guys, let's go into the second observation we had in the game against Leeds. Actually guys, before we move forward with this video, I actually want to interrupt this video and beg you guys for a favor. I want you guys to subscribe to my channel. I see many people watching my videos but they don't subscribe to my channel. I want to beg you guys to subscribe to my channel, Tactical Trafford. So the second observation made in that game was that we couldn't get a lot of control in the midfield, particularly in the first half. It was really abysmal in the first half. We could not really control the ball. There was a lot of miscontrol, a lot of loose passes is expected. This is the first game of the preseason. Many of the players are actually very rusty and cannot be able to properly execute their roles in the team. And actually, this is something that Amorim actually pointed after the game, that they need a lot of strength, a lot of pace, a lot of athleticism in the middle of the park, and it's something that we really need to address before the Arsenal game, because if we don't have a lot of control in the midfield, even if we succeed in buying Oli Watkins and having a trio of Koha, Watkins and Brian Mbeumo, they will not be able to actually effectively affect the game. The attacking outputs like the goals and assists will not be there because the midfield is actually not good. The midfield is actually very porous, and this is something we really need to work on, because there are several occasions in that game whereby Koha dropped deep to try to progress the ball because the midfield was actually invisible and not able to affect the game as they would like. So that's one of the second observation I made from the game against Leeds. So guys, let's actually talk about the tactical view of the game, how Manchester United actually approached the game tactically, and actually the various tactical flexibility and adaptation that was actually invented by Ruben Amorim in the game. So guys, let's talk about the tactical analysis of the games against Leeds. Actually, let's talk about the first phase. In the first phase, we all know that the two central backs are going to split wide, and then the CCB is going to join Casemiro in the midfield. So it's just like a 2-2-2 build-up shape. And actually, I'm not a big fan of that build-up, because actually Casemiro and Delete are not press resistant. They are not comfortable on the ball. These are players that cannot be able to play in this role efficiently. So using the wrong players in wrong positions is not what is going to help Manchester United build up effectively, because as you all know, if we don't get our build-up phase right, it will be very hard for us to dominate positions in any game in the Premier League next season. As it was very evident in this game, particularly in the first half, long hours in the first half, we were not able to dominate the game because of our build-up phase. So we need the right profile of players in this build-up phase, like Euro, Mazraoui, Heaven, Martinez. These are players that are actually very confident. They are press resistance. They are good in tight spaces in possession, so they can be able to play the CCB role very effectively. Using players like Delete and Casemiro for the build-up phase is actually not really going to work, as it made our progression through the middle to be very non-existent in the first half, and it was actually very, very bad. So I think this is something that Amorim should be able to work on, and also there should be some kind of tactical flexibility whereby Koha or Bruno Fernandes or one of the 10s should be able to drop back and help us to actually progress through the middle effectively, because when it comes to using that build-up phase that I saw in the Leeds game, it's actually not going to work, and it actually forced the goalkeeper to actually go long most of the times or want to go through the wing back, and you know that Bayanda is not good with going long, so most of his passes were actually going to the throw-ins or actually not hitting the target. So he actually really stagnated our play and our build-up in the first phase of the game in the Leeds game on Saturday. So guys, the last thing we're going to be talking about as one of the lessons we learned in the Leeds game is actually the formation flexibility. There was an instant briefly in the game whereby Manchester United moved to a 4-3-3 formation shape, and this was actually done to make some kind of rigidity or some kind of compactness in the middle so we can be able to progress in the middle, but it actually didn't work because definitely the players are just coming back, a lot of loose ball, a lot of loose passes, so it actually didn't work. We also switched back to the 3-4-3 formation shape, which actually was meant to help us to progress to the middle, but it actually worked pretty well in the second half where we had players like Hero, Heaven and Mero actually good in tight spaces and keeping positions. So it actually worked in the second half to give us some kind of fast progression, because most of the times we are stuck in this 3-4-3 formation shape. We actually just keep refining the ball with the back three and actually don't make any form of significant progress. But in the second half, we will see moments whereby Euro was giving long passes, Euro was progressing, Heaven was progressing, Mino was trying to bring some kind of stability. So actually, you could see also there was in particular moments whereby Shaw tried to find Kunha directly from the middle of the pitch. Last season, most of our central backs were not able to take risks. They did not want to take risks, so we could not progress in the middle. So the progression in the middle issue is something that evidently Amorim is actually trying to work on, and we are going to be seeing a lot of progression in the middle of the pitch next season. But actually, there was one negative I have about Amorim last season. He was not tactically flexible. He was not changing into different formation. But just in the first game of this preseason, you are seeing instances whereby he's trying to change to work in different shapes and different formation shapes. So I'm actually glad that he's trying to make a lot of progress when it comes to bringing tactical flexibility, because that is one of the ways you can be able to excel in the Premier League. So guys, let's go over to what we are going to be expecting in the Everton game on Sunday morning. So one of the first things we should be expecting in the Everton game is that definitely this is just our second preseason game in the season, and we should be expecting some kind of progress on the physical level from the players. So we should be expecting sharpness from the player. We should be expecting some kind of good physical conditioning. We should be expecting some kind of run team behind, more sharper passes, more sharper long passes. We should be expecting some kind of progress, because we know that Everton is an athletic team. So even if it's just the second preseason game, we know that they are a very aggressive team. They like to press, they like to mark almost in all phases of the game. So actually we expect some kind of growth when it comes to the physical condition and the physical fitness of the players in our next game. So the second thing we should be expecting in the game against Everton is that we should be expecting some kind of formation and tactical flexibility, just as we saw in the Leeds game. We should be able to actually set up in different formation shape, like the 3-4-3, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. We should be able to change and rotate so that it will be very hard for the opposition team to actually get a hold of us. This is one of the things I like about Roberto De Zerbi when he was in Brighton. He actually might set up in 5 different formations in one half of the game. He was able to actually tactically rotate his team, which actually made Brighton a hell of the team to beat when Roberto De Zerbi was actually in charge of Brighton. So we should be expecting that from Ruben Amorim, just as we saw in the Leeds game, because we didn't see more of that last season. We were mostly stuck trying to refine the ball from the defenders to the wing backs, back to the defender, back to the goalkeeper, and going long and losing the possessions. We don't want to see that kind of football anymore next season. We want to see evident improvement, and I'm sure that we are going to see that. So guys, the last thing we should be expecting from Manchester United in the game against Everton is that the build-up issue and the midfield issue should actually be addressed, because when it comes to the build-up phase of 2 defenders splitting sideways and then the CCB joining Casemiro in the midfield, actually the right profile of players should be used in the right positions. I don't actually buy that idea of weird players playing in weird positions. I don't actually like that kind of setup. Actually, players that are actually good and comfortable in the ball should be used in the right positions, whereby players that are not good and comfortable on the ball should actually be protected by the brilliance of other players in the team. That's actually how a team should be able to function. And then when it comes to the midfield issue, I think the issue of the midfield is not about using the right profile of players, it's about getting a new midfielder. If you look at the Manchester United team, you're going to find out that the right athletic midfielder that is needed to elevate the team is not there. You can actually go and watch my video on the best athletic midfielder that Manchester United can be able to recruit this summer. I made that video some weeks ago, so you can be able to go and stream, so you can be able to know the kind of athletic midfielder that Manchester United should be able to buy. So guys, that's for what I feel Manchester United should address going into the Everton game. That midfield issue is something that we should be able to work on. Buy a new athletic midfielder that is going to help in the build-up phase, that is going to help to cover a lot of grounds, that is actually going to help Bruno and Kobe to be actually very expressive. Because if you look at the Manchester United midfield selection, Manu Agati, I don't think he has a future in Manchester United from next season. Casemiro's contract is expiring next season. Bruno Fernandes and Kobe Mainoo are actually the 2-6 right now that I know that they have future in Manchester United. So whoever we should be buying or recruiting for the midfield should be pairing with either Bruno Fernandes or Kobe Mainoo in the midfield, which is actually going to help them to move forward a bit, to express themselves, to be able to play more efficiently in the midfield. So guys, I see many people watching my video, but actually they don't subscribe. Many people that watch my videos are not subscribers, and when they watch, they end up not subscribing. I would like you guys to like my video, to share and subscribe to Tactical Trafford, as more videos will be coming out this week for you guys. So see you guys in my next video. Ciao.